Every one of those children were put in public schools that belonged to all of these that were saved. They were put in public schools. And those children, some of them have graduated from high school. And several of them have all graduated from our Bible school in Canada. And I'd like to tell you, out of that group of people right there in that church, there are 13 ministers, our ministers in Canada. 3 are on the foreign field today, just out of that group of Roman Catholics. Oh, I tell you, it does something to me. I'd be willing to go over there again, even at my age. It's hard work. I want you to know it's hard work. I'll assure you right now. Many of the time I said to the Sister Mary today, we would get down and fast. We'd be fasting and asking God to send enough money to buy a quart of milk. Send enough money we might have a loaf of bread. We didn't have the money. And then somebody from the nowhere, we didn't even know them, would send money to us. We don't even know who they were. God had laid a burden on their heart. Because we were over there, we spent everything we had, the advertising and everything we had to do, we did it ourselves. We paid for it. And I'll assure you, but I'd like for you to see those people now. I was there 3 years ago in this very same church. And I want you to know we went with them when they bought the lot. We went with them when they started the church. We turned the first shovel of dirt. I tell you, they have a church just as pretty as your church. But I would like to tell you more than that. They don't owe one single penny on that church. Now they're building on an educational building to that church. But when I was there 3 years ago, that same 69, the first to come to the altar, not one of them have ever backslid. Every one of them's living for God. I wish you could hear them testify. My, it seems like all of heaven is opened up when those people get up to testify. They remember where God found them, the condition He found them in. God has performed miracles. That's just one church I'm talking about. Now you know what those children have done? They're teaching their fathers and mothers to read. Really, it's really wonderful. And on and on it goes. Oh, my heart has thrilled so many times over those who have received the Holy Ghost because we took the challenge. We went to Canada to preach this gospel. It wasn't easy, I can assure you. All right, I told you that. I thought you might appreciate it. You might help you to realize God is real. God is still saving souls. God is still concerned about you that don't know Him. But in this country where we have so much, more than enough, many of us push God aside. We shut the door in His face and we won't walk with Him. We won't talk with Him. We won't live for Him. What a tragic thing it is. Well, you know, again, let me say I have a lot to be thankful for. And let me tell you tonight, I'm going to tell you what I'm thankful for. I'm so thankful tonight that I didn't have to crawl to church. You know, I rode in Sister Mary's car, and then I walked in under my own power. Why did I say that? Well, in the convent I've crawled until there were scabs on my knees. And when we crawl with hands upright like this. Oh, I've crawled and crawled some more. And that's a penance. And the sorer the knees are, well, the more pain there is. And of course, I'm being made holier, I was supposed then. I'm being drawn closer to God, and I was willing to crawl because they told me it would make me holier. But I thank God tonight I didn't have to crawl to church. And I told you last night how I spilled my blood as Jesus shed His upon Calvary. I didn't spill a drop of blood today. I didn't have to. My lovely Jesus went to Calvary for me. Oh, let me tell you, folk, I have something to be thankful for. And then I thought, oh God, I didn't have to burn my body today to appease the wrath of an angry God. Lord, I didn't lick any crosses on the cement floor today with my tongue until it bled. I do in the convent, but I didn't do that today. Why? Because I heard the gospel. I heard the truth. God redeemed me, loosed me, and set me free, and saved me, and filled me with the Holy Ghost. Oh, let me tell you, folks. Then I think about you and I, how much we have to eat. I don't think I ever sit down to a table. I don't think I ever eat a bite of food that they I can't. To this day, I don't think I'll ever get over it as long as I live. That the thought doesn't flash through my mind. Oh, if I could just take my share of the food into the convent. But I wouldn't dare do that if I could. Those little nuns would become violently ill if they'd eat the kind of food you and I are eating. They couldn't do it. Their stomach wouldn't take it at all. But I think about it, I can't help it. And so I thought how many times I've been hungry in the convent. And when I say hungry, folk, I've been hungry. I'm hungry enough to do just this, and I'm going to tell you about it. On this particular day, I was out in the kitchen working for a short period of time. And oh my, I was so hungry. Do you know what I did? I told you how we take fresh vegetables, we cook them together for the evening meal, and we stir them in a deep pie pan. We have a mammoth big old pot, and we put them in a deep pie pan. It's about this big around, about that deep, and we have a half a slice of bread. That's 2 ounces of bread, and a large 10 cup full of strong black coffee without any milk or sugar. That is our evening meal. And you know, this particular time, I've been there long enough that I've lost a lot of weight, and I'm hungry. Very, very, very hungry. And so I'll never forget that day as I prepared some of the vegetables, especially the potatoes. We never peel a potato. We boil the potato, then slip the skin off, but there's no waste that way. And you know what I did this particular day? As the garbage was ready to put in the garbage can, oh, do you know what I did? I'll tell you. I was very cautious just where I put those potato skins in the garbage can. I knew what I was going to do. And you know, it sits down here on the landing. Our kitchen is a very large room, not as wide as across here, about to the second row seat from here on over. And this is up on first floor. It has an outside door but double locks on it. And right here there is a stairway going down 1 story. And our garbage cans sit right there on that landing. And you know, I went down to put the garbage there in the garbage pail. And oh, listen, we have 3 skirts on, and my top skirt has a deep pocket on either side. And because I was so hungry, I went down in that garbage can after I put it in there, and I reached down and got a handful of those potato skins in either hand, and I put some in each one of my pockets. Now you may say, why didn't you eat them right there if you were so hungry? Well, because there's 5 little nuns in that kitchen, and they would tell, and I'm in a lot of trouble, more trouble than you know anything about. And so I waited until I got in my cell that night, and we're locked in our cell. I told you about it last night. And then I proceeded to eat my potato skins. I ate them, I'm hungry. But you know, the very next morning what the Mother Superior did? Now, I don't know how that woman found it out. I didn't know anybody knew. But the next morning she said, we're going to do penance. And of course, I don't know what the penance is going to be. You don't talk, you don't ask questions. And so she brought me into a penance chamber. And the Mother Superior, as she walked down about middle ways of a massive room like this, no lights except the candles that are burning, she stopped right there, and I stopped. And she taps the bell, and 2 little nuns come. And when they come to where we were standing there, those little nuns, she handed either of them a piece of rope. And when she gave me the rope, one nun was to tie my feet tight together. The other little nun was to tie my hands behind my back. And then as I stood there in that position, the Mother Superior had one nun to reach up and get a hold of my nostrils and hold my nose tight. And then she had a tablespoonful of hot cayenne pepper, and she put it in my mouth, and they held my nose until I had to swallow the cayenne pepper. Do you know how hot it is? Go home and taste it and you'll know. And I tell you folk, I thought I was going to die over that terrible thing. Oh, I suffered. Nobody knows. I broke out with bold hives in about 3 days. I really thought I was going to die because my body was in too terrible a condition. But she told me I stole those potato skins, and that's the way she's going to punish me for stealing them. I didn't steal them for any reason, only I'm hungry. I don't have to steal potato skins out of Sister Mary's garbage can. She's giving me very lovely food to eat. And I tell you, I think about it. Every home I'm in, I think about it. That I don't have to go to the garbage can to get food. But the folk where I stay in their home, they give me food to eat. Oh yes, those things all come back to your memory. And so I say this tonight. I'm thanking God from the depths of my soul. There's no more Roman Catholic priests in my life. Oh, I covet their soul for Jesus. Did you pray for any of them today? I prayed for them collectively, I can assure you. All right, there's no more Roman Catholic priests in my life. There's no more confessional box. It's a cesspool of sin. There is no confessional box in my life. I had to confess my sins to Jesus one day, and He delivered me from sin. Praise His wonderful name. And then I say there's no more Virgin Mary worship. Oh, no, I don't bow down to the Virgin Mary. The Virgin Mary didn't go to Calvary for me. The Virgin Mary didn't shed a drop of blood for me. The Virgin Mary didn't die for me. My lovely Jesus done all of that. I don't bow to the Virgin Mary any longer. I can't assure you. I thank God for all of that. And then I thank God there's no patron saint tonight. I learned men that she had died to maybe 200 or 300, 400, 500 years ago and had gone back to dust just like my mother went back to dust. But oh, I was taught to believe that if I called on her name, she'd intercede and get my prayers through to God. But she died and went back to dust, and she was never able to get any prayer of mine answered. Why? Because she had died. But I didn't know all of those things in the convent, but I know some of these things now because I'm out of the convent. Then I say, thank God there's no purgatory. I told you the other night, the only purgatory the Roman Catholic people have is the Roman Catholic priest pocket. Oh, thank God there's no more purgatory. I'll be able to tell you a little more about purgatory possibly Sunday night because it is in connection with my family. And on and on. But I won't say any more about it tonight, but thank God no more purgatory, no more holy water. Oh, holy water, we had it by the barrel in the convent, and when a priest would come in the convent wherever he walked, then the Mother Superior would give maybe 6 or 8 of us a bottle of holy water, and we'd have to take that holy water and sprinkle it every place that he walked, for fear he might have brought in an outside spirit from the outside world. Oh, my, when I think about the sin and the corruption I was in, and God delivered me out of all of that, I tell you folks, it makes you want to cry out in thanksgiving to God, because I know where He brought me from. And so thank God there's no more of any of those things. Holy water, and you know my family are all Roman Catholic, and my mom and daddy never learned a thing, even though this thing happened in our home. My oldest brother and sister, I was never privileged to see them. They died before I was born, but naturally my parents told me about them, and my people were farmers. And you know, on this particular day, Mom put the 2 babies to bed. We used to have the old trundle bed to slip back under the big bed. She pulled them out there and put 2 little babies to bed right after noon in the daytime, because they needed somebody else in the field. She went out to the field that afternoon to work with Dad. And you know what? She got her bottle of holy water and she sprinkled it all around those babies' beds. Then she sprinkled a little on the baby's blanket. And no evil spirit is supposed to draw nigh those children because of the holy water. Oh, listen, folks. My mother and Daddy went out in that field to work. They were out there a couple, 3 hours, and Dad looked up and saw smoke coming from our home. And let me tell you, they just left the teams in the field and they made a run for the home. But before they ever got to the home, it burst into flames and those precious little babies burned to death. What a hoax holy water is. Purgatory and holy water's two of the biggest hoaxes there is in the world, and they've commercialized off of and down through the years. But I didn't teach my people one thing, not one single thing. But thank God there is no holy water. There is no scapular. I don't wear a scapular, but oh, let me tell this congregation, I'll tell you right now, I had my scapular on. Nobody ever took that off of me. I never took it off in the convent. I tell you, when we took our bath, I kept my scapular. What is a scapular? To me, I'll explain it just like this. It's a dirty piece of brown cloth. You drop it down over your head, and there's a little portion here, and a little portion comes down the back. And there is no nun that'll ever take her scapular off when she takes a bath. We're too fearful we might have a heart attack and die in that bathtub. And what does it mean to us? I'll tell you what it means to us. We are taught to believe this. On the first Saturday after the death of a Roman Catholic, the Virgin Mary goes down into purgatory, and whoever she finds wearing the scapular, she delivers them from purgatory. And oh, I wouldn't take my scapular off. And let me tell you folks, I wore that scapular back in the United States, which you'll be hearing about in a few moments. And you know, I had that scapular on when I heard the gospel here in the United States. When I run to the feet of Jesus and surrendered my life to Him, I had my scapular on. The night that God filled me with the baptism of the Holy Ghost, the night that I received the same experience of Virgin Mary and the 120 received in the upper room, I had the scapular on, and I knew I had it on. Nobody else knew a thing about it. But you know what I said to God down there after the Spirit of God began to live? I said, oh God, let me get home safely. And when I got home in my room, I walked in that bedroom and got off my clothes as quick as I could. I took that scapular off. I got me a match. I set a fire to it and watched it burn. I don't wear the scapular anymore. Oh no, I'm a child of God. Oh, let me tell you, I have a lot to be thankful for. I want you to know that and to understand it. It means something to me to be a Christian. All right. Now another time I was so hungry in the convent, and you know, on this particular occasion, Again, I stole it. It's stealing. There was a crust of bread. We make our own bread there in the Cloistered. And it's made of unrefined coarse flour, and it's very dark. That piece of bread, it was a heel. It had been laying on the end of that table for several days. But I'm hungry, more hungry than you know. And I stole that piece of bread. I put it in my pocket, and I took it into my cell that night. And after the lights were out and the cell doors locked, we were locked in our cells at night. All right, I tried to eat that piece of bread. I had a battle to eat it. It was too hard. But I ate it because I was very, very hungry. The very next morning, how did the mother know? I don't know how she found out. I have no way to tell you. I don't know. But the next morning she said, we're going to do penance. What did she do the next morning? I'll tell you, she brought me into a penance chamber, another one altogether. And the Mother Spirit, it's like we had your kitchen table sitting right down there. And she brought me down to that table. We'll use this pulpit as a table up here. And it was about the height of the table. And the Mother Superior brought me up here by the table. And this is what she said. She put me right over on this end. And she said for me, there was a board about this long.